Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this series is on ASP.NET Core Identity, okay, which is a authentication library for .NET applications like Blazor Pages, MVC, Blazor Server, etc. Okay, so this video is all about just introduction and basic project setup along with the ASP.NET Core Identity. So what is ASP.NET Core Identity? ASP.NET Core Identity is a built-in login functionality library that supports authentication for all different .NET applications like MVC, Razor Pages, and Blazor Server. Next, it provides rich authentication UI pages which are customizable as well. Means by default, we will have all the pages like registration, login, password, forgot password, like all authentication related pages are by default available through ASP.NET Core Identity. And if we want to customize them, we can do it. Okay. Next, adaptable for any authentication providers like Google, Facebook, Outlook means social authentication. So using this library, we can use uh, social authentications as well, like Google and Facebook. Okay. Next, can be integrated with other authentication libraries or applications as well, like Identity Server 4 and Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory B2C. All these examples I have mentioned are already by default authentication applications. So in those applications also, we can use ASP.NET Core library, identity library inside of it. Okay. So that's all about basic introduction on ASP.NET Core Identity. So to implement authentication, I am going to create one Razor page application with by default authentication enable. Okay. So for this demo, I am using .NET 7 Razor page application to display ASP.NET Core Identity Authentication Flow. Okay. And I'm going to use editor like Visual Studio Code. So to use Visual Studio Code, we have to use the .NET CLI command for creating the application. So if you want to use Visual Studio Editor, which is a first priority editor, okay. But to create the .NET 7 any application, you must have .NET, sorry, you must have Visual Studio 2022 latest version, okay? Because below versions, .NET 7 application won't available in Visual Studio Editor, okay? But here I am using .NET CLI commands and Visual Studio Code as my editor. Okay, this is the CLI command. Okay, so .NET space new space web app. Web app represents I want to create Razor page application. Hyphen auth individual. Here I mentioned create authentication. Okay, like individual user authentication along with the Razor page application. And here you can see another flag ULD that represents create the local DB, which is a SQL DB. Okay, hyphen O and name of the project. Okay, hyphen O for creating the output directory. Okay, if you are using Visual Studio 2022, it is very easy. With the UI, we can select the template. Okay, so let me create my Razor page application. Okay, here I miss flag like it should be double hyphen. Okay, now it is creating. And if I minimize my command prompt, here you can see application got created for me. Okay, let me open my application in Visual Studio Code Editor. Okay, here is the Visual Studio Code Editor. Okay, and here is my Razor page application. And if you open CS Proj, you can see the framework, which is the latest framework, .NET 7.4. And you can see default ASP.NET Core Identity libraries also installed on creating the project, because I have specified, right, individual authentication. So ASP.NET Core Identity authentication automatically configured into this application. Okay, so now if you go to this program.cs file, here is the DB contest configuration. Okay, application DB contest by default it will be created for us. Okay, this is the DB context and it inherits the identity DB context. That means it can play with the identity ASP.NET Core identity related tables. It can play with that. Okay, and next you can see here another add default identity configuration. So it helps to render the uh, our identity ASP.NET Core identity default pages. Okay, are nothing but it configures the identity, this add default identity. Okay, now the thing is we have to create the uh, tables for our uh, ASP.NET Core identity. If you observe here, database context is default configure, right? And here in the data folder, you can see the migrations file. So I think you know migration files to generate the tables from the classes, right? So here already default tables that are related to our ASP.NET Core identity are generated as the migrations based on our application DB context. Okay, so if you simply run the migration file, our tables get created. But I want to create the tables in a database that I am going to specify. Okay, so for this demo, I am using the local database. Okay, local server, SQL server. So here, let me create one database for my demo. Okay, so I will name it like Q2 demo identity, ASP identity. So this is my database name. Okay, so I want to add all ASP.NET identity tables into this database. Okay, so for that we have to change the uh, connection string. Here we have a connection string in app settings.json file, right? So here we have to change. I think just this database set, if you replace, that is fine. Okay, so here just remove this database value. Okay, and let me get my database name. Okay, and add it here. Okay, that is the change we have to make in our connection string. So now what I can do, I have to change the server name also. Okay, I want to give my local DB server name. Mostly it will be the same, but let me to make it sure, let me copy the server name and replace it here. You observe both are same, just casing is different. Server name casing, local DB. Okay, but to make sure I am using correct server, I just replaced. Okay, so I am done with the connection string change. Now the thing, I have to create the uh, this migrations I have to run so that identity tables will be added into this database we just created, right, into the database. Okay. So before doing that, we have to run few comments. Okay, here you can see the blog I have written regarding this video. Okay, I have already written blog on this content what I am going to explain in this video. Okay, the reason I opened this blog, we can easily copy the comments and we can use them. Okay. So first thing is we have to run the migrations. For that, if you are using Visual Studio 2022, just open a package manager console and run this command. So here I am using Visual Studio Code, right? So I have to follow different commands. The first thing is whoever using Visual Studio Code, make sure to install .NET EF Core tools in your local system. So here you can see observe global command. It is global command. Okay. So if you run this command globally, then only this .NET EF commands will work. Okay. Next. Next command is the migration command. Okay, that is .NET EF database update. So copy this command and in my Visual Studio Code, let me open the terminal. So here in the view menu, you can see the terminal. Okay, and let me paste the command .NET EF database update. Okay, let's run it. And here you can see execute commands regarding the tables. Create table, create indexes. All these are related to our ASP.NET Core identity tables. Okay, all those are, it is displaying a message successfully executed. Okay, to confirm that, let's go to our SQL server. Let me expand my database and expand the table section. See, here you can see the tables around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 8 tables were created. Okay, if you see first one, EF migrations history, this is for just migrations. We have run the migrations, right? So all those records will be stored here. Let me open the select query, and here you can see the latest migration just we ran, right? That is recorded here, just like a log table, migrations log table. And here next table we have to look ASP.NET Core users. Okay, so this is the main table where we are going to store the registered users like email and the password, password hash and phone number. All the user information will be stored into this user table, ASP.NET user table. Okay, and the second important tables are like ASP.NET user logins. This is another one important table. So this table to track the what kind of authentication user followed. Okay, that means which kind of authentication user like whether user normal ASP.NET Core Identity application login or Google authentication or Facebook authentication. All that information will be stored here, and this data this table will be mapped with our normal user table only. If you use Google or Facebook, some other social login also, user will be created here only. But whether that user is created from the uh, application or third party social logins, that information will be stored here. That is ASP.NET user logins. Okay. Next, we can have roles. I think majority of people know what are the roles like admin role, IT job role, like that, employee role, like that, main roles, okay? Like a lookup table, okay? Like this is like a lookup table. All the roles our application supports will be added into this uh, table, okay? Next, claims, user claims. So this is the next important uh, table. So these are the claims. So claims are very important because uh, nothing but claims. These are like user claims. Yes, this user contains this permission. This user contains this permission to view this page or to update this page. Like that, claims will be stored here. Claim type and user ID are mapped. So this is like a many to many relationship like table. Okay. Next, next you role claims. For roles also we can add claims. Okay, so this is mapping table between the role and the claims table. Okay, and next user claims we have seen, user roles we have seen, and user roles. Finally, the mapping between the roles table and the users table. When a user contains particular role, okay, all the specific roles that contains claims also will be applied to the user. Okay, so these are the uh, brief description about the ASP.NET Core Identity Table. Okay, let me run my application. Okay, let me open new terminal. Okay, here Visual Studio Code command to run my application is .NET Watch run. Okay, here you can see build process, and here you can see my application is running, and here you can see menu items like register and login. Okay, so if you go to home page and privacy, all these are my Razor page application pages. If I click on register, these are all identity ASP.NET Core identity pages. You can see register, login, forgot password, everything. But if you explore our project, you won't see any pages that are related to identity. Here you can see URL. It is our under areas folder. If I expand areas folder, there is nothing here. Just it is using our pages layout also as a master page to the identity pages. But how these pages are loading? Those pages are loading because of the library by default installed. That is nothing but Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity.UI. All those pages are coming from this library. Okay, but it is very obvious in any application we have to customize, right? We don't like default design, right? This is very minimum design with the minimum data. All these we want to redesign them. So to redesign them, we have to generate the files, okay, ASP.NET Core identity files. So once we generate the files explicitly, those files will override the existing files inside of this library. Okay, that is the reason we have to generate those files explicitly. So generating those files, it is very easy. We no need to create them manually. There is a command to do that. Okay, so let me run that command. So to generate those files, we call scaffolding, identity scaffolding. Okay, if you are using Visual Studio, first thing is you have to install this Visual Studio Web Code Generation Design package. Okay, first install this package. Next, follow this step. You have to simply right click on the project and click on add. There you found a new scaffolding item. If you click on the new scaffolded item, you will get all the options, okay, for scaffolding the ASP.NET Core identity. Like it will show options like to override the layout page or not. You want to use the existing database context or you want to create the new database context or not. All those configurations will display just with check boxes. Whatever you want, check them and create. So automatically files get generated inside of this identity and the pages folder. Okay, so for Visual Studio users it is bit different. Okay, so the first command is we have to install this code generated tool globally. Okay, like what, like we have installed already one globally, right? EF core command globally. Same way this code generation tool also we have to install, then only we can uh, scaffold using our Visual Studio or .NET CLI command. So first install this. Since I have already added this command into my system, I am not repeating again. Okay, so next thing, like Visual Studio Code, we have to install this package. Okay, web design package. Copy that. Okay, and go to my application. Okay, and let me open one more terminal here. by clicking this plus and paste the command. Let me install this package. And here package is successfully installed. To check package installed or not, just go to csproj and uh, check the package reference element. Here you can see this is the package just installed now. Okay, so that means we done with package installation. Next thing, we have to run the command for generating the scaffolding. For Visual Studio 2022 users, it is like a UI representation for implementing the scaffolding. For us, here we have a command. Okay, so .NET space ASP.NET hyphen code generator space, and it is about identity space, and here this flag represent a database context, and you have to pass here fully qualified database context name. Okay, so copy this command. Okay, open the terminal. Let me clear these logs. Let's add the command, and here I have to specify the fully qualified name of my application DB context. So I am removing this placeholder. So let's open the application DB context to get the fully qualified name. Nothing but this namespace dot our application DB context name we have to specify here. So let me give the namespace ASP.NET IDEN dot razor page dot data. Okay, let's run the command so that our files get scaffolded. Nothing but the files of identity will be generated explicitly. Build is failed. Why build is failed? Here it is showing like build is failed. Let me check. Did I change something? Okay, let me run the application again. .NET watch run. So application is good. Let's run our command again. Let's try again. Building the project. Identity, running the identity generator. Okay, this time it is successful. Let's check whether files generated or not. Yes, these are generated. Here you can see. Previously we have just I think this view start, right? Now if you observe, some are additional pages as well as a one folder, accounts folder. Here you can see the pages, razor pages. Okay, so register.cshtml for our, this is our registration page. Okay, and login, this is our login page. So finally we have scaffolded our ASP.NET UI pages. Now you can go directly here and you can apply your custom changes into these pages. Okay, so that's all about the scaffolding. So let's complete this video by doing normal registration and one login. Okay, so I click on login, register page. Okay, application is not running. Let me run the application. Okay, so delete it. Again rerun. Okay, okay. Again rerun the application. .NET watch run. Okay, application is running. Let's click on the register. So let me give one email address and the password. Okay, and confirm password. Okay, click on register. And here you can see a message. This app doesn't currently have email sender register. Okay, how to implement the email sender, look for the Microsoft Docs. So to not to break the user's flow, because email confirmation is mandatory by default in our ASP.NET Core identity registration. Okay. So in general, here there is a link, right? Click for confirm email. This link must be sent to our email address. Here there is no email uh, configurations by default. We have to implement them manually. So the smart way, what they did is Microsoft team, they just displayed the click uh, confirm email link directly onto this page so that whoever learning this application or whoever started integrating this application is not blocking. Okay, so simply click on this confirm email to further continue with this application. Okay, first let me go to my table, that is ASP.NET users. Here there is one record. Now I got email and my password hash. Okay, and here you can see email is email confirmed is 0. So what I will do, let me open the login page in another folder. Let me try to log in without email confirmation. Okay, see, invalid email attempt because email is not yet confirmed. So what I will do, I will click on this link now. See, thank you message. Email confirmation is done. If I go to database and execute the query, now email is confirmed. Now, if I go to login page, okay, and if I try again, see, I am successfully logged in. Here you can see my username is showing here. Okay, by default username and email will be same. If you want to customize it, you can customize it. Okay, so you can see the logout also, logout button. That means I am successfully authenticated. Okay, so that's all about basic setup and default registration and the login process. Okay, in the next video, we are going to implement one email service. Okay, so whatever the fake email confirmation we just uh, gone through, right, within the application, that we will correct it. That means we are going to implement the real email sender and we are going to register again. If the email is correct email, we are going to receive a confirmation email link, and using that link, I am going to confirm the registration. That process we are going to explore in the next video. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like the video, please support me by subscribing my channel, and please don't forget to like the video so that I can reach more and more people. Soon we are going to meet with new content. Until then, signing off.